Hello and welcome to Skills Pays Bills Boxing, where we talk skills, we talk shop, we talk the sweet science. And today we're going to be looking at the devastating loss that Dillian Whyte suffered last night against Alexander Sasha Povetkin. In a fight that was high risk and low reward, Whyte was stopped in the fifth round by an absolutely sensational left uppercut from the 40-year-old Russian. Was it by chance or was it by design? We're going to have a look. Let's check it out. Okay, so first and foremost, things do happen in boxing. Mistakes happen, losses of concentration happen. But Dillian Whyte has been down numerous times in his career to people like Joseph Parker, Oscar Rivas, Joshua, and now Povetkin. He's been hurt in several fights at this level and has shown vulnerabilities. Now, last night, Ben Davison took to IFL TV in the post-fight interview and mentioned about Dillian Whyte's habit of leaning over. And we're going to look at how front foot heavy he is. So let's just look at it here. I want you to look at the weight distribution of Whyte, who for some of his past fights has distributed his weight onto his back foot and used the long arms that he's got to jab and move around the ring and try and stay away. Here, he's very front foot heavy. You can see he's feinting off of that front foot. He's leaning over to shoot the right hand and he's leaning to get the jab off. He's trying to enforce his will and trying to back the pressure fighter Povetkin up. However, he's coming into his wheelhouse and making it a more dangerous affair than it needs to be. So, talking about the leaning in, as you can see, this is a 30-second clip. I want you to look at Dillian Whyte and how often he leans over when Sasha Povetkin looks to make entry. He constantly leans over. So imagine as he stands tall, his head's at 12 o'clock. Then look as Povetkin comes in, his head goes to 6 o'clock. And then his head comes back up to 12 o'clock. So his head comes down and back up. So if you look to shoot a shot, his head will go down, but you know the second or third phase, the head is going to be there for the hook, the uppercut, or the overhand right, or the straight right, because his head always comes back up. Whyte distributed his weight poorly. Now, people will say that comes from just moments of madness, getting caught up after the knockdown. But however, these clips are pre-knockdowns. These clips are moments in the fight in which Dillian Whyte has gone in and leaned over his front foot to engage the smaller, older, and more compact fighter in Povetkin. So one of the major reasons why fighters do not lean over, just some context for people that want to know. When you lean over, not only are you in their wheelhouse, in the shorter man's dimensions, and shorter fighters are normally the more compact punchers, but also you are blinding yourself. Your peripheral vision is not able to see the shots that are coming over and under and round the guard. Now, some taller fighters will lean over the front foot against their smaller foes in order to draw counter-punching opportunities, but here Whyte had no reason to do it. He was just too hell-bent on getting his offense away. From a coaching point of view, it's a terrible habit to take your head from 12 o'clock to dip into the uppercut at 6 o'clock to then go back up to 12 o'clock, especially against a fighter like Povetkin, is criminal. Absolutely criminal. Now, regarding the hooks, they say never hook with a hooker. Dillian Whyte hooked with Povetkin all night, not only to the body but to the head, but look at his hand placements as he hooks. So just watch the hand positioning of Whyte here, who engages by leaning over to then come back up with a left hook with his right glove by his side. It's one of the biggest things you get taught. If one goes out, one stays at home. He doesn't do that, and his head never comes offline. The only time it comes offline is when it dips into the uppercut. Now, many of you will point out to me and say, well, he was winning the fight. And not only winning the fight, he had his man down twice and hurt and on the verge of winning. And even better than that, he was doing it inside the pocket with the hook to the head for the first knockdown, and then with the left uppercut in the pocket off the ropes. However, who won the fight? Again, it comes down to small details. And whilst people can look at all those things, it only took one moment, one bad habit, and the 40-year-old veteran seized upon it. If you keep doing the same things over and over again, The top fighters read it. And read it he did. I'm going to let this run through for you. Absolutely stunning finish. But was it by design or was it by luck? Let's break it down. So here we see the finish. Whyte punching, major problem that he has. He punches and misses and falls off balance. He then has to reset himself and step across the line with a flick out jab just to keep Povetkin preoccupied. But the problem is he's moving across to Povetkin's power side, the left hand side. And there you go, that's the finish. Whyte has had problems in his career of being able to punch through the phases. He's constantly, when he misses, he falls out of balance. His footwork has always been a little bit laborious and cumbersome. And you see it in this fight again, people saying he's a bit lighter on his feet. I didn't sense that. I sensed that he was still plodding, still one-paced. And here, he misses and comes back out of position, doesn't stay on Povetkin or keep Povetkin set off. He then throws a jab, moves across the line. Now, this is his problem, as I say, about the leaning over from 12 o'clock to then he goes to a more like 5 o'clock by slipping and then looks to come up and trade hooks. To me, surely the game plan and surely the coaching would have been, do not hook with this man, keep everything long and straight and walk him onto punches. He will break down in the second half of the fight, surely. However, there is footage of Dillian's fight camp where he's doing pads and he is hooking to head and to body and hooking on the heavy bag with his hands down. The training and what he was doing seemed to take no regard for Povetkin and what Povetkin was good at. You'll see here as he comes across, because he's square of his feet and his upper body, Povetkin's able to slip inside with his lead leg and his head goes past the elbow of the right elbow of Whyte in order for him to slip and be in a distance where he can get his shots off, but Whyte cannot get his off. And that, my friends, is how you do it. Now, the big question is, can he win the rematch? Well, as you've seen in the fight, he had his successes. However, he was putting himself in vulnerable positions all the time to have that success. For me, listening to his interview today, I felt it was a bit concerning if you're a Dillian Whyte fan, that he's talking as if there isn't nothing much to change. You just go back to the gym, work hard again, and go again and do the same sort of things. Now, let's be real, in the cold light of day, when the dust settles, we know that things get said and then minds change. However, Dillian Whyte's going to have to show an incredible amount of mental strength or thickness of skin in order to get through a very difficult period of his career. If he can go back to the drawing board and make the changes necessary, you've seen it with Joshua. Even he admitted with the Ruiz fight, he showed it by bringing in a different trainer to help with training and also a different game plan. If Whyte approaches this with more patience and more poise, with a focus on, okay, this is what he's good at, I'm going to negate that, and just looks to do the job possible that it should have been last night, which was keeping the fight a long fight and making Povetkin miss and use your advantages as a fighter, then he should win this fight. But it's down to mentality, and only he knows if he has it.